Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being on Zoom. I thank the musicians for Janine for the I Am That I Am song, and Mike and Evie for Abraham, Martin, and John. These songs have kind of been a part of the last couple weeks in my life, and I wanted to share with them about them and tie that into how Nancy so beautifully left last week with all the I am that I am affirmations. And the alignment with will, which kept coming up, what kept popping up for me was the word hope and hopefulness. And so as our country wallows around in its craziness, that word hopefulness just kind of kept coming, that I needed to try to see how I could tie that into aligning with our divine will and the I am that I am. So I found this, and I'm going to read some of these things today. I have a dream of the most sacred words removed from the New Testament, the coming of the untouchables. The coming of those who have discovered the sacredness of those two holy words, I am. Those who have discovered the I is the name of God, am is the word of God in full recognition of itself. So I have to say I have struggled with really kind of trying to bring that I am that I am into myself, and I have faltered, and so I want to go to the word hope. So I went online, and of course there's always some kind of interesting things. Hope is described as a confident expectation for what God has promised, and its strength is in His faithfulness. So you know me, and I had to say, so God is still a male online. I hope we can change that a little bit and make it her faithfulness. And then Wikipedia says hope is to expect with confidence and to cherish a desire with anticipation. That's how I feel we need to be to get out of this place that feels stuck. So many of all of them, in fact, of our speakers so far this month have talked about the way to alignment with the divine will as being through meditation. And I needed something to hold on to, something practical, something to work with that said, okay, so I go into meditation and that, can I get into the gap? Can I get into the place of peace? Can I get into that place of calm? And what's holding me back? What's the I am feeling, thinking, saying, doing that's keeping me from that? And so then, for those of you who are here, I gave you a little chart that I had in my computer that came to mind. And as we look at that, and those of you who are on Zoom, if you want the chart later, you'll have to email me and I'll send it to you. But for today, this is from Esther and Jerry Hicks from their book, Ask and It Is Given. And they listed 22 emotions, number 22 being fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. And number 1 being joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation, and I would add maybe perhaps enlightenment and illumination. So I am going to just quickly read through this list, and I invite each of you, whether you're here or Zooming, to see if any of these words resonate with what's going on for you right now. And then we'll have a place to go from there. So number 21 is insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. Number 20 is jealousy. Number 19 is hatred, rage. As you can see, these are all dark energies. Number 18 is revenge, number 17, anger, 16, discouragement. Where is courage? Number 15, blame, 14, worry, 13, doubt, 12, disappointment, 11, overwhelmment, 10, frustration, irritation, impatience, 9, pessimism, 8, boredom, 7, contentment. Now the energy starts to change, gets lighter, and number 6 is hopefulness. 5, optimism. 4, positive expectation and belief. 3, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. 2, passion. And I suspect passion is the word that most closely aligns with divine will, that ultimately folds into joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation, illumination, and enlightenment. So, as each of you kind of look at a word that pops out, or 2 words or more, I'm going to go forward with stating where the words about the I am came from. As many of you know, I have been having a parallel study with the Radio Rose Academy in Vancouver, BC, and listening to messages that come through transmissions from the messengers. And I'm happy to say that what's helpful for me was the messages, the new ones that come through with the Patriots. The Patriots are 9 of the presidents who have ascended, and some other political people, and one of them is Martin Luther King. And so that first word, the first thing I read about the I am came from Martin Luther King's transmission in July of this year. And there's more. There's more. And I have to say, this touched my heart so deeply, which is why today it seems like what I get to share. So he said, which way your life shall go requires a sound life blueprint. This is a most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And as I was reading that, I thought, yeah, and who's going to be in my audience? Mostly retired people, and they're going to say, no, I already did my work. And I'm saying that by the time I got done reading this, it's like, no, we're not done until we're done. So just keep that in mind. This is an invitation to even more. The question is whether you have a solid and sound blueprint. I wish to suggest things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number 1, your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your dignity, your worth, and your somebodyness. Don't allow anyone to make you feel you are nobody. Always feel you count, always feel your worth, and always feel that your life has ultimate significance. And I think that this is not an accident, that this came through right now with what's going on with the Black Lives Matter. So I'm celebrating this. Secondly, as a basic principle, you must have the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. So if we're retired and our field of endeavor is meditation, then maybe it's best done from our chair. Maybe it's best done from our wheelchair. Maybe it's best done from our bed. But nonetheless, it feels like our field of endeavor changes as our lives change. You are going to be deciding what your life's work is and what it will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it and do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or fail. Be the best that you are. If you can't fly, run. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. So it's been said that we can live 3 to 4 weeks without food. Maybe longer if we have some drinks that are nutritional, but it's kind of limited once you quit doing food. And we can live 3 to 4 days without liquids, and once again, maybe a little more if you got the right liquids. That we can live 3 to 4 minutes without oxygen. And we can't live a second without hope. So, once again, moving into how this all came together for me and where I'm going to go from here. We often hear that we're not alone. This is kind of a little trademark that's been on TV, and sometimes it's said here, and I just want to acknowledge that we are not alone because we have the support of this community. And also, there are, well, back up a little. When I was growing up Catholic, I always thought that it was a little, not quite the full truth, that Jesus Christ was the only one who had ascended. That, whereas everybody else, and how did he need some help? And, you know, I mean, he had disciples, and all those questions were going through my mind. So when I discovered this path with messages from the other masters, I was very excited because it sort of filled in that gap of place that was doubt. And so I'm happy to say that, you know, that these presidents are now coming forth, and the ones I remember are George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, John Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Lyndon Johnson, and I know there's some people that have some problems with some of those people, but nonetheless, apparently they did what they came to do, and they did it well, and so they got to go on into the ascended places. So when I'm looking at the stuff that's going on out here, I'm calling on all of them. And Martin Luther King is one of the masters, and so is John McCain. And I figure this crosses party lines, it crosses everything, and it gives me hope, because they're saying they can't disagree with each other in the fifth dimension and in the ascended realms. So I think that's a good lesson for us, no matter which side of the fence you're on, or no matter what you're thinking, is that can we get into that place of neutrality where we just really want to communicate and listen and hear and see how we can come to a resolution of a better place of hope. So I need to read a little more of Martin, because I just need to. But I read this is when I broke into tears. I dream that you will come and visit me soon. I have a dream that the path forward for each of you who has come to know that your true self is a mighty being of consciousness. God is consciousness. We are a mighty being of consciousness. I have a dream to place within your mental body the greatest awakening dream that will give you an understandable roadmap of embracing your resurrection. In other words, our rising above all the limitations that the human race has set on us, and being able to see the results of this impeccable dream, a dream of each of you fulfilling the principles of Jesus Christ. I have a dream to fulfill with the Heavenly Mother and Heavenly Father. Will bring into your awareness very soon that even if you use the words I am in the most casual, callous, ignorant, unenlightened way, you do not escape the karma of doing so. I have an awakening dream that I will breathe into your mind, and I will be relentless every time my awakening dream hears you use the words I am and put a negative behind it. that you are instantly going to be aware of what you just said, then you will have a choice to either recall the words or cancel, or find another way to say it. And how that spoke to me was, what I had been saying was, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired. And it's like, if the I am is our representing our God self, then I'm being unkind to my God self by saying that. So I rephrased it into, I am really feeling the need for more rest. And so just for me to bring that into a higher level of consciousness, what are we saying? What are we saying every day? And how is that affecting the energy of the world? And how's that affecting the energy of hope? So taking all this back to that we're responsible for our own resurrection, if you would, and at the same time for the energy that goes out into the world that is creating the reality that we have. We are creator beings, and we are given free will, and that's we have this quiet time now. We have this opportunity to create the new vision. And I certainly hope, now I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I hope that it's not a dream that, well, we get a vaccination and then we go back and drink all the beer we want in any bar, and we can still shoot people with our guns, and we can still have war all over the place, and, you know, greed and whatever, lies, whatever. It's like, no, that is not the reality I want to create. So what do we want to create? What do we want it to look like? And as these storms come up, the pandemic, now they're saying a twindemic, it's like, come back to the responsibility to ourselves to be responsible for our health with what we eat, what we drink, what we put into our bodies, what we put into our minds, what we put into our hearts, that ultimately create who we are and our wellness as we go out into the world and these things are around. They've always been around, and they're worse now because I think we're supposed to be waking up. And I hope that, you know, we don't have to get more and more and more storms, so we wake up. It's said that 1% of the population of the world is awake and is on a spiritual path and does understand what's going on, and that it's enough. So there are these little things out there, these little beliefs that some people have that, oh, this is the end of the world, this is Armageddon, this is, you know, you name it, there's a conspiracy theory for it. And I just invite us to not go there, to come back to this place of hopefulness with knowing we're not alone, knowing we're overblighted, knowing that there's that guidance there, knowing that roadmap is there. If we sit in our meditation and we say, okay, here's where I am right now, I'm just totally terrified, or I'm worried, or I'm whatever, go into it and say, okay, this is what I need taken out of me so that I can go to that place of whatever those other words that you want to have in your life. It's the tools to help release that. And can we release it for someone else? I'm not sure. We can envision that it would be lifted from them with love, and then they would have a choice as to accept those messages. I've been doing this other little affirmation every morning about prayers of protection, and for myself and for everybody at Unity Church and all my family and everybody I know and all that I love and all the good and constructive people in the world. And I feel like if our divine will is of a constructive nature, what we choose, what we desire, our heart's desire is of a constructive nature, and it is aligned with essential harmlessness, then it is the divine will. Our will is a divine will if we're not trying to hurt somebody else. And I don't think that it's a big mystery to be afraid of. I think if we sit and we realize what our heart's passion is and what we desire out of love, that is going to be the divine will. And I think it's also the divine will of the mother. The heart is the mother energy. The mind is the father energy, and it's together, and we're all both of those. So I think I got off the trail, and now I have to look where I am. There's one more thing from Martin Luther King. Go home and make peace with yourselves first. And then maybe when you are at peace with yourself, you can come together and encourage other people to be peaceful and other nations to make peace with each other. I've discovered that if we're going to lead a charge, then we must seek to end what is broken in ourselves. I have a new dream for those who are awake, who are studying spiritual paths, and who have made contact with the angels and the ascended masters, whoever it is, on whichever path you're on. I have a dream that every night my angels will come and place into your minds a roadmap so you can see. A roadmap that makes you whole again, and if you study and meditate, a roadmap that will return your true spiritual heritage, and this requires the bravest of all. My dream is to leave a roadmap of ideas in your mind where in your quiet moments you can see your way ahead. You can see the next step, the next two, the next 3 steps, yet you must keep the glory of God before you. I have a dream that Christ will no longer be hidden from your consciousness. So I'm going to do a little longer meditation today, taking this message in. And once again, consider if there's any of those words on that list that speak to you, that are stumbling blocks, are things you would just assume weren't there, but there they are, and it's your truth. And it's not that we take ourselves and deny our emotions. It's that we allow ourselves to step into it and then feel it and then ask it to be released, to clear ourselves, to purify ourselves. So Janine intuitively played the Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and so I think as we move into meditation, I would like to invite the colors of the rainbow to help us move through and release and clear and move up into those higher vibration words. So settling in and taking in some deep breaths. As we close our eyes and go inside that heart center, where soul center, where the seed of who we are, who we were created to be is, and just rest there. Just be grateful. So grateful for the gift of life and for those that are in our lives, and for the beings, for the Mother God, the Father God, all the beings that are their assistants, that are helping us with love and praise and gratitude. And so from the center of my being and of your being, I invite you to bring in the white light. That white light, white substance, the white light of the God that you understand, that is your purity and your protection. And if you wish to send that out to any of your loved ones that you feel particularly need that protection, feel free to do that. And then let's look at the gold yellow light, the light of Christ, the light of illumination. Let's bring that around us. We're sitting in the middle of a globe of light. Rainbows are globes of light, actually. And the gift is illumination. Christ came to illuminate the way for us, the way shower. Then I'm going to bring in the pink, the color of the Heavenly Mother, the color of love, pink roses, beautiful rays of pink, different shades of pink. Just surround ourselves with that. Her gifts are love, will, and grace. And I invite in the violet purple flames, those of purification. Saint Germain, who was Joseph, who was Jesus' human father, who is an ascended being. And purification, his gifts are love, purity, and forgiveness. Let's bring in a green color. Green for the color of the heart. Green for the energy of peace. Surround ourselves with that. Surround someone you love with that. Surround Washington, D.C. with that. Archangel Raphael, Goddess of Peace, Mother Mary, the Buddha, at the very outside of your rainbow, let's add in some turquoise. Beloved Kuan Yin, Archangel Gabriel, the gifts of truth, deep breath, just stay with that in the silence, in the gap. So coming back to the lungs and the heart with another breath. Remembering the I am that each of us are. Let's claim our power. Let's claim our love. Let's claim our creation of a new tomorrow. And coming back, I say thank you.